Hello and welcome to the world's worst interview of Fudge, where there is a 0% chance of hearing a dumb question, and there is a 0% chance of watching a boring video, and there is a 75% chance of you knowing what's actually going on around here. Now that we got that iconic intro out of the way, let's start So What's Up episode 2 with one of my inspirations, Fudge, starting with the topic of... First thing I wanted to talk about was your motivation for starting creation.
If you're wanting to know like exactly why I started in the first place, I guess, that like why I started, it is partially because of what I've talked about in my videos on autism, in generally feeling very out of place in like kind of a regular, more neurotypical workplace. But also like I've always known since I was young that I wanted to entertain in some form and be creative in that regard. You know, I was always good at drama and English and stuff. When it came to maths and science, I was a bit of a flop. And then I remember I finished college and it was all like, what's next? What are you going to do for a living? How are you going to make money and stuff? And I didn't know. I basically went to university for 3 years after, basically to kind of give myself time to think about it. And then a year into my degree, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to run out of time on this soon too. Like I need to start doing something. And I just figured, can we swear on this show? Can I swear?
Yeah,
I just figured, fuck it, I've basically grown up on the internet. I've spent my entire life pretty much on YouTube. I can do what these guys do, like I can do this. So I started making my very first videos at university in my dorm, which was terrifying actually, because I'd never like recorded audio for anything like that before. So I was constantly nervous that like my flatmates could hear me like recording videos like, blasted Pokemon to Sun and Moon. Oh, I hate these Pokemon games. I thought all my cool student flatmates could hear me. I'm like, what is this idiot doing, But I had to do it because I was like, I have to get this thing off the ground, start making money, and maybe this can be my job, because I don't know what else I'm gonna do.
You recorded the Pokemon Sun and Moon video whenever you were still in university?
Yeah, the first few videos, like up to like my first 5 or 6 videos, I did all of my university. In fact, the Sun and Moon video isn't actually my first video I ever made. I actually made one before that that's now deleted, and then my second video was the Sun and Moon one, which I've left up.
But I think I remember seeing that video up because I was confused seeing that as the first video, because I've been following you for a while. I got recommended the Sun and Moon video because I was in my little Sun and Moon Pokemon era.
Oh damn, did I turn you around? Did I convert you?
No, that's like one of my favorite Pokemon games still.
Damn.
And then what really like pulled me into your channel was whenever you started the Deview. And that inspired me to do my album review series, which is like neutral recommendation, I guess.
Awesome. I never wanted to be viewed as a critic or a video essayist or any of that stuff. Originally, when I made the Sun and Moon video, I was alternating. Basically, I told myself I'd do a really stupid idiot video, one video, and then I'd do like something serious, something kind of more analytical. And then I realized that the analytical ones always did way better than anything else, and I was getting kind of pigeonholed, so I decided to just kind of cut that cold turkey. But any video I made that was kind of intended to be humorous and just that always flopped in terms of metrics. Not because I don't think they were good. I really believed in them. I had a lot of confidence in them. And the people who watched them always found them funny and enjoyed them. But what I realized is that like people on YouTube they want some sense of opinion. They want to get something close to objective out of it, even if it's understanding the kind of groupthink of how people think about a certain kind of media. They want something. And I was like, how do I get to be funny and silly and creative while also giving the viewer like at least like a morsel of something to take away, like not just laughs, but like something to actually think about. And I was like, well fuck, like I'll just try and do the funniest, silliest, most ridiculous review possible. I will actually give my actual thoughts on something, but in a very silly kind of obtuse way. There's a guy called Tim Rogers who does videos on his own via a site called Action Button. He is such a strange man, but he never calls things good or bad really. He always just finds some kind of convoluted metaphor or some ridiculous ways to say something about a thing. And I've always thought that was magical and really funny. And also, when I was at university doing my creative writing degree, we studied poetry and how poets made their poetry more interesting by imposing restrictions and limitations on them. And so I came up with the idea of I'm going to make a review where I never ever say that anything is actually good or bad, and it's down to the viewer to infer what I actually think from listening to my ridiculous jokes and riddle talk. It wasn't my favorite idea I've ever come up with, but it's really hard to do something on YouTube nowadays that people haven't done before, and I thought it was the closest to something slightly original that I could do that I think people would actually watch, that I think would actually have like real appeal to the average viewer. It lives on now in the world's worst review.
But yeah, the world's worst review was like the natural next step for the Deview.
Yeah, basically, it's basically a rebranding just because on YouTube, series don't actually do very well nowadays. Like if you try and brand a series, unless you're someone with like a millions of subscribers, people aren't going to click on it because they don't know what it is before they click on it. And we don't have the attention span to sit there for like a minute and learn how a video works before we watch it. We just want to immediately get it. We want that instant gratification of like, oh, I click on it, I get it, I get my information, I'm done. So I just thought I will change it to a different series, but it tells you exactly what it is before you click on it. You can tell, you know what you're getting yourself in for.
So, do you still think that your Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze video is still your magnum opus?
As of right now, yeah, I do think it's my best. I want to top it soon. I have a few ideas. I'm looking forward to it. But I don't think I've quite topped that yet. That is still my favourite video that I've done.
Any sneak peeks?
I'm currently working on a Crash Bandicoot one. I would like to do Hearthstone one day, which is a game that I've been playing for quite some time now. There's a Stanley Parable one I've been thinking about for a long time. That would be so different. There's almost nothing I can say about that. But I'm willing to bet that if I do this Stanley Parable video that I've been thinking about, I genuinely think it would be something that no one on YouTube has ever done before, what I'm doing. Very out there. So we'll see. I've made the autism videos purely because I don't think there's anyone really talking about it that well in like a big platform like that. You've either got like very clinical people who are very kind of like I say, very clinical about it, and they talk about the scientific terms and the DSM-5 and all this stuff, and that's very important and very good. But I thought like maybe I can be someone genuinely relatable who people on the spectrum can relate to. Back in my university degree, we did this thing called life writing, which is basically about like writing about real topics in your real life and stuff. It's basically learning to write autobiographically, and I wrote a thing about autism back then, and my lecturer loved it, and she was like, wow, this is quite shocking and quite insightful. And I guess I kind of thought about what she said back then, and I was like, maybe this is something that people would be interested in. It was kind of a Hail Mary. It's very scary, it's very disarming to be so vulnerable and so open and tell so much about your life, but I kind of don't care. I don't know, if you do YouTube, you have to not learn to not care what people think of you to a certain extent. None of my comments on that could offend me or upset me. I know what I have, I know what it's like. No one can change my mind. I've got my own lived experience, so fuck it, I'll share it, and maybe it can help.
I like how it's really easy to tell whenever you're being serious and whenever you're joking around.
Some people have trouble with it, you'd be surprised.
I don't know how people have trouble with it. It's so like clear cut.
Me neither, yeah.
Having that relationship with an audience, like being open and vulnerable with them, is I think a net positive, because people get to connect more with you, but they don't have to know everything. You get to choose what you show them and what you don't show them. Being able to build that connection with people out of relatability is important to an extent.
Totally, to an extent, I think it's important, but like I said at the end of the second autism video, I do think it's important to also maintain some boundaries. There are some people out there who love the parasocial relationships, and they really encourage that stuff, and I've made it clear, like, I appreciate my supporters and my viewers and all the people who do nice stuff for me, who share my videos, especially who donate to my Patreon, but I also don't want them to think we're friends. That sounds brutal and it sounds hard, but it's for their own good, because I'm not sanctimonious enough to sit here and pretend like I'm not capable of going out and doing horrible things. If I go out sometime and do like a terrible thing and receive the consequences I deserve, I don't want other people to be upset about it. I want other people to be able to kick me to the curb and be like, all right, my life is not significantly worsened by someone I don't know or who I never met doing a bad thing. This sounds like me future-proofing myself for anything terrible I may do. I don't plan on going and doing any terrible shit, obviously, but I'm like I say, I'm not sanctimonious enough to sit and pretend like I'm not a flawed human being who is capable of it. And if that day should ever come, God forbid, like I say, it's for their sake, so they're not far too attached and the world isn't crushed by a human being going and doing a big fucky wucky.
Building this relationship with basically strangers, but like people can have their own thoughts in their own mind, but it can't really go further than that, which is nice.
That's why, like I said, that's why I don't have a Discord, because I don't want to talk to these people all the time every day. I hate the idea of an entire space, an entire group of people
dedicated to
me, exactly, yeah. Like, oh god, I really.
You have to have an ego for that.
Yeah, like the thought that I could log on and it could show that I'm online and everyone just stops. Oh my god, Fudj is here. Oh no, not for me.
So I guess I don't know why my voice just did that. You stream a lot more now. How's that going for you?
It is mostly out of necessity. Streaming is far more lucrative and far more consistent and far more livable on, if that's the right use of phrasing, than YouTube is. YouTube is so wildly inconsistent. Every time you make a video, it's like you're playing the lottery. You know, will I win? Will YouTube recommend my video, or will I stay at 2,000 views? You know, how much money am I going to make? Streaming is more consistent, it's more stable, it's more reliable, and that's really important for a guy like me, you know? I get a lot more satisfaction out of releasing a YouTube video that I'm genuinely proud of, because I'm a writer and, you know, I like having the time to plan everything. So streaming is something I'm a lot less passionate about, but I'm slowly kind of getting around to the idea of like getting passionate about it and thinking about some more creative things I can do. It's fine for me. It's fun for now, you know, but should YouTube ever become like something that I can actually solely rely on, then I would definitely focus a lot more on that. It's nice, I guess, at the very least, to be able to talk to my viewers a bit more. Like I say, I'm very conscious about preserving boundaries, so I always say, hey, if you want a Discord, just come into my stream. If you want to talk to me and ask me questions, like, I'm very open in my stream. I'm willing to chat about anything. I much prefer streaming as kind of an alternative to that, frankly. If you're interested by this interview, please, by all means, do go ahead over to Fudj, F-U-D-J, on YouTube, on Patreon, on Twitter, on Twitch. I am Nocturnal Fudj. That's one word. I am Nocturnal Fudj on basically everything, because there's a dude called Fudj on like everything else other than YouTube, and I can't get Twitter to delete his account, even though he hasn't spoken for like 8 years. We also have a merchandise store that I set up with my friends over at Patchwork. Shouts to Patchwork. They are an organisation that I'm affiliated with, kind of an esports organisation. They're great. They helped me set up this merchandise store. So it's store.patchwork.gg that you can find the Fudj merchandise, which is like mugs and shirts and stuff. That stuff goes a long way. Help and support me in my ambition and my silly, lofty dreams of being a silly, wacky guy in front of thousands of people, pretty much. That'd be great if you can check any of that stuff out. I'd appreciate it a lot. Thank you very much.
Support the silly, wacky man.
Us goofy guys are a dying race. We're going extinct. After we get trans rights and non-binary equality, we're fighting for the goofy guys. That's what's next.
It's the next movement.